Hey everyone, it's Friday, and that means it's time for another quick video devotion for you and your family. Today we're in the lectionary again with a dramatic story from Genesis chapter 21. This chapter tells the story of the birth of Isaac, the son born to Abraham and Sarah when they were about a century old, if you can believe it. Before Isaac was born, though, you may remember that Abraham, back in Genesis chapter 16, when he was still called Abram, had another son named Ishmael. At this point in the story, Sarah was still called Sarai, and she was unable to bear children. So she told Abram to have a child with her Egyptian slave girl Hagar. Now, there are a lot of icky things about this situation that make us cringe today, but unfortunately, this type of thing was pretty common in the ancient world. Back to the story in chapter 21. Now that Isaac was born, Sarah wanted Abraham to get rid of Ishmael and Hagar because she wanted Isaac to be the only one who received the inheritance from Abraham. And to his credit, Abraham was very upset by Sarah's request. But at that moment, God spoke to Abraham, telling him that everything was going to work out okay. Isaac would still get the inheritance, but Ishmael would also become the founder of an entire nation too. On a side note, that's why God changed Abram's name to Abraham. Abram means father, but Abraham means father of many, or father of many nations. So Abraham sends his own son Ishmael and Ishmael's mother Hagar into the wilderness with nothing but bread and a container of water. It feels like Abraham could have done better than that, but anyway, Hagar and Ishmael use up the water, and then Hagar, out of despair, places Ishmael under a bush so she doesn't have to watch her child die. But at that moment, God speaks to her and shows her the location of a nearby well, echoing that promise that God would build a nation out of Ishmael. And I told you that this story is a dramatic one. You've got family politics, you've got jealousy, banishment, despair, but then you also have blessing. As we come upon Father's Day this weekend, this is certainly an uncomfortable story. It makes you wonder why any of the suffering had to take place at all, if God was just going to bless the characters involved. But if you think about your life, I'm willing to bet that the hardest times taught you the most important lessons. And if you're a teenager, maybe you haven't had too many of those situations, but I'm willing to bet that your parents have. So thinking about how Hagar and Ishmael were, in the end, blessed after such a terrible turn of events, I invite you to reread Genesis chapter 21 as a family, and then discuss how blessings can sometimes come out of terrible situations. Maybe you have some personal stories that you can share. But until next time, I hope you'll stay safe and healthy, and have a happy Father's Day to you dads out there. See you soon.